All right, we're live.
All right.
I'm hearing a lot of echoes. You guys might need to.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
I muted Twitch.
I'm gonna get my headphones. All right, this should be better.
All right. Well, we got one person on.
Two. We got two.
Two on?
I don't know if that's counting me.
That might count me too.
Yeah.
Who knows?
I don't know if that's counting me.
That might count me too. Who knows? Dan found a new technology. I'm live, guys. I'm live. If anybody wants to embarrass me publicly, now is the time.
Who's Paragon Mouse? Hey, Ryan.
Ryan Dominillo. Wow, Ryan. Looks like you're alive and well.
We
Are we
got
still
Poland
getting-
in the house?
Are we still getting reverb and echo? Okay. So who's all on here? Can we even tell? I mean, other than the chat?
You can click on users and on top of stream chat.
So I'm going to tell you, I'm getting an echo.
Yeah, we don't want echoes. All right, we got some people coming in here. It's good. Dan, do you have by chance have audio coming out of the Twitch stream on a separate computer
You
audio?
don't want to wait
something
a few
like
minutes before we get
You know
started?
what? It's not.
I want to wait a few minutes.
There, there's no echo. I think we're fine. There's no echo. I think we're fine.
I just heard an echo.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and that was on, Dan, that was on your screen when I heard it.
Well, here's the thing. If you are hearing the live feed and you're hearing from Zoom, you're hearing it twice.
I realize that. That's why I muted Twitch.
Yeah,
Okay.
mute Twitch and
I
just keep your
muted
audio.
I was the problem. Sorry.
Okay. All right, we're good.
All right.
It was me.
So Jason, we got Jason Guy on here. Here we go.
Clint in from Poland, everybody.
In from Poland. Did he wake up for this? Is that it? And then Ryan Dominillo. You know, we also might have would it count? Hey, Jason, would it count people who are viewing who are not logged in?
That should be the red number at the bottom, I believe. That's total viewers.
I'm not seeing a red number. how many people we have.
It says watching now at the very bottom of the Twitch feed. You'll see that there's six total,
All right.
but they're all CGT folks.
Yeah.
One of those is me. One of those is Miranda, Jason, Clint. We should have invited Clint into this.
Well, we can. Anyone want to send him the Zoom invite?
Well,
And Clint just left the chat.
is anyone on here not related to CGT? Because then we could completely shift our gears here. I think we can talk about other things.
Everybody's
Although-
from CGT.
People might look for this recording later, so I would run the presentation so that the information's out there.
Okay.
All right.
I can switch the screen whenever you're ready to go.
Yeah. Okay, everybody. So welcome. If you're viewing this live with us on Twitch, or if you're going to be watching this later on your own time, we're going to go ahead and start what we're calling a virtual We're Stranded in Our Houses open house. So I think the first thing to do is probably introduce everyone, and we'll start up at the very top of my screen. I see Mr. Josh Polk. So we'll let Josh introduce himself, and then we'll come back full circle to me, and we'll kick this presentation off.
All right, my name is Josh Polk. I'm a third-year lecturer here at IUPUI. Before I came here, I taught at the Art Institute for, I think it's like 13 years or something like that. But I've been teaching a wide range of graphic design, multimedia, video, interactive stuff, themed attraction design, most recently, just a lot of different things. And I enjoy working in this department. We get to do a lot of fun stuff.
Okay, next up on our list of faculty, and I mean faculty experts, Dr. Christian Rogers. Go ahead, Christian.
What's going on, everybody? Chris Rogers, Associate Professor in Computer Graphics Technology. I teach motion design, video production, and themed attraction design. Anything else you want to know about me?
What's your zodiac symbol?
I have no clue.
Is there a favorite genre of music that you enjoy over others?
I'm partial to 90s pop in some ways. I don't know why.
Wow.
A little Natalie
No,
and
not-
Briglia?
No. Early 90s. I mean, you know what I'm saying.
That's exciting. All right. Next up on the list of faculty experts, Mr. Jason Guy.
I love that intro. All right. Jason Guy. I'm a 10-year lecturer. And I'm in the 3D and animation track, all things 3D. I'm very much a generalist. And before that, I worked at Firaxis Games out in Baltimore, Maryland, where I was primarily an environmental artist, but also a modeler and texture artist, and made about 4 video games.
And Jason, your personal question of the day. You're stranded on a desert island with a DVD player and only one film. What is that film?
Oh, that's easy. That's Fight Club.
Wow. I would have thought that it would have been a little classic starring Mr. Tom Hanks, where he actually escapes from an island. All right.
Yeah.
I'll finish up here. My name's Dan Baldwin, and I teach illustration and design and animation pre-production and digital painting. And I also enjoy to do those things on my own outside of the classroom. Thank you.
All right, I got a question for you, and it was the question they asked everybody at my first studio where I worked. And you reminded me from your question. And the question is, you're stranded on a desert island with a living, breathing chocolate baby. Do you eat the baby?
It's really sick, man.
That's what they asked me, man. I'm just passing along. Do you eat the chocolate baby?
I mean, are there other food sources available to me? I'd like to think that I would not. But
I'm going to say no. That's your
there's
only
no other
option.
food. So my other question is, from having a baby who is still in diapers, what happens when the baby has to go to the bathroom? Is that also chocolate as well? So
Oh,
couldn't I just
I don't know.
eat
They didn't
that
go that
instead
deep
of a
into it.
baby?
It's a moral question. Do you eat a baby or not?
No, he just broke the riddle.
I would like, yeah,
Solved it.
yeah. If the baby, has to go potty, then I don't have to eat the baby, right? I can just wherever we've spiraled in a downward loop. It's all right. Let's
We've been banned from Poland already.
right, exactly. Okay, let's get going. So yeah, today we're gonna, now that the introduction's over, we're gonna basically just kind of talk about the program a little bit. I have got two monitors open, and I am gonna try to make sure that I can read the questions. But if I miss them, someone shout them out. So here's a brief snapshot of some of the places that our students have worked. That's one of the things that we're doing right now, trying to dig into the archives and see, especially some of our alumni that have been out in the field for quite a bit of time, where they're working, but just a small sample, everything from Boeing to Bungie, yep, and everything in between. A lot of local companies represented, and then a lot of national companies as well. So we're all, I think, very proud of the studios and the firms and the agencies that people are working at who, come from CGT. Okay, so what kind of things do CGT students do besides eat chocolate babies on beaches? I'm still rattled visually by that, and it's hard for me to continue. I can be honest with all the Twitchers out there. So everything. I think the thing that kind of unites everything that CGT students do and CGT alumni and faculty is probably just problem solving, right? So we're visual problem solvers, and so that takes all kinds of forms, everything from animation, 2D, 3D animation, that entire pipeline of modeling and lighting and rendering, the pre-production, production, post-production aspects of that, visual effects, which is a component of that field, theme park and experience design, which we're really excited and we'll talk a little bit more about today. Ride creation, web and multimedia design, video production, graphics design, which includes everything from visual communication and even illustration and illustrated assets for graphics. So it's a pretty big scope, and so we get a lot of students who come into the program who have a lot of different career and goal aspirations. It's actually, from a faculty teaching perspective, pretty fun to kind of mix it up with all those different kind of interests. So. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is we have 4 tracks, and so we're gonna kind of split off, and so you don't have to listen to the Dan Baldwin DJ hour. I'm gonna hand this off to Josh Polk, and Professor Polk is going to talk about the interactive multimedia track.
Yeah, so our interactive multimedia track is one that we've had for some time now, because we have a couple of new tracks, the motion design and the themed attraction design. And I assume you guys can hear me okay. Let me know if you're just seeing the mouth moving. And so we do a whole bunch of different things in the multimedia track. So one thing that you could become within this track is just kind of a basic graphic designer. That what's interesting about being a graphic designer now, though, is that job, that function has changed quite a bit since, in the past decade, right? So now you're not just talking about print design and putting things on paper and making brochures and logos and things like that. But now, hey, California, great to have you. now we have social media, we have email, we have motion, animation, interactivity. When we talk about designing websites, you know, how does something move across the page? How does, when you're using an app, when you click on a button, does, you know, does it just immediately switch to something, or do you show the motion of a file being put into a folder or something like that? So we really explore all these kinds of things in multimedia, and a lot of students enjoy working on these different types of things. I have a whole bunch of stuff to show you, and I won't try not to take too much time, but my students will tell you, maybe they'll follow up in the chat here, but I like to give a lot of content to my students. I try to teach everything that's possible about everything, and they'll tell you that. And I think they appreciate it. They can boo me in the chat thread if they don't. But one thing on this page before I move on, this was a really cool project one of our seniors did. It's called The Brave. And what she had this idea of for one of her senior projects, to take some kids that were patients at Riley Hospital and had struggles as a kid, you know, in their life. And so we rented a photo studio, and we got these kids and their parents, and we took pictures of them acting like superheroes. So they were dressed up, and this kid here is really hilarious. He was really getting into the Hulk role and was just loving it. So then she was able to use her Photoshop, compositing, 2D skills to kind of add them to this environment, to where, you know, things were, you know, make them look like superheroes from a movie or something like that. Let me get out of PowerPoint here, if it'll let me. Let me just jump through a handful of things I picked out of some of my recent classes, and we can just take quick looks at things. So one of my favorite things to teach is Photoshop and all the things you can do with that. And so that may be digital imaging for something that you might see in an advertisement or something like that. It may be a advertisement. So we're using a little bit of 3D design software. There's a program called Adobe Dimension where you can do product design type of stuff really easily, and add that to some nice typography, a good color design, logo design, things like that. Create some pretty interesting stuff. We do some things that maybe just a little bit more artistic, you know, blending photos and textures and colors. My students actually, I had them do what I call a pandemic snapshot project over these last 2 weeks. And what I told them to do is use all the Photoshop skills that we've worked on, and use some photos and do something that's personal. And I've gotten some really amazing work from them. And my hope is to put these up, create some kind of gallery, whether it's virtual or hopefully we can print them out and hang them up somewhere in the fall. So that's one thing, you know, just interesting things like this could be the background of a movie or something like that, or a book cover. We have a student, we just gave a presentation the other day, who really wants to get into book cover designs and that kinds of things. Lots of interesting ways of presenting yourself, self-portraits. We do a lot of fun stuff too. So, you know, we play around with, you know, all the Star Wars people that work on that movie. They've got some kind of graphics background, and this is probably more Jason's area as far as doing the 3D and stuff like that. But we've composited things together in fun, different ways. We do some retouching. So you take a photo that out of a camera may not look that great, and you brighten the face, sharpen the eyes, make it a lot more interesting. You know, oh, that's the, sorry, that's the editor one. This girl, I took her picture and she had a big sty in her eye in every picture. So I had to get rid of that, and then, you know, add some vignette around the outside, get rid of the flaws and things, and have a nice portrait that somebody could print and put up on their wall. You know, you've got these kids, nice, cute. She's got the eye problem here again on that one, but let's see if I get to the right. Oops, I don't know if I have to open that one up in Photoshop here real quick. So on this one, you know, add the background. We've got that gap in the sky. We've added in some trees and a little bit of effects to make this a little bit more interesting. One of my favorite projects we've been doing is what I call the masterpiece project. where, let's see if I click on the right one here. So the students pick a masterpiece. So we got Van Gogh's Starry Night, and then they reproduce this using stock photos in Photoshop and come up with something like this, maybe a little more realistic in some senses. So this was the original, and then the student did her version of that with stock photos and various Photoshop methods. And then here's one more, and the student that did this is actually on the stream right now, but that was his interpretation of redoing this art as a masterpiece of their own. So that's some of the, oh, real quick, couple practical things. I had them do billboard designs as well. So my main goal in a lot of my classes is for you to have a job when we get out of here, right? So can you design something that's going to go up somewhere on a billboard, on a sign? So what they did is they designed these billboards that for a show, they made up a show idea and they used their own photography. They did retouching on the faces. They created their own logos using typography, and brought all this together to look good and mocked it up in kind of a real life scenario there. A couple other things we do I've had a lot of fun with a new class. We've been adding some new content this semester where we've designed banner ads. So again, this is the new way that people are designing things. So you create, I mean, if you go to any website, you're going to see banner ads all over the place. And guys, I'm not keeping a real close eye on the chat. If anybody throws a question at me feel free to interrupt me. So we design them here, and then we prototype them and mock them up over in Adobe XD and actually animate them, and then actually turn that over to code. So I will say that our department focuses a little bit, we lean more when we talk about web design and development, we lean more on the web design side of it. So we do a little bit of enough coding and HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so that you know that and you can work with people that specialize in that. But we have a little bit more, we lean on the design sides of things more than the developing. We actually have a sister department, Computer Information Technology. You take a couple of their classes and then you have more experience with that code, and you actually take a couple of those courses as foundational in this program. But we did some fun stuff like you might have seen graphics that people put on their faces in Instagram. So we did some branding. He did kind of a 7-Up type of project, or just things that are kind of for fun. You know, you're adding flowers and praying mantises on your head and using that augmented reality technology, and then even kind of relating to currently what we're dealing with types of stuff as well. Then I'll just mention real quick too, and then I'll close things out. We also really look at the design of interfaces of websites, and we put presentations together that show off what these designs look like. So you could walk into a meeting at an ad agency and you can show them what your plan is. So it may not just be, it's not about just the design itself. It actually has to do with who's your company, like what's the demographics of your of psychographics, behaviors, buying habits. Who are these people that this is being made for? And so we look at those considerations and what these people are like. And then you make your design and you use colors and fonts that are going to appeal to them and get them to click on buttons and to buy things and to go to the next phase. And so we design all this stuff. We make ads for it. We create the apps and the designs for the apps and prototypes for the apps, and we can rapid prototype all this stuff. And we've had students come out of this class that have gone to Chicago and got jobs doing user experience, user interface design types of things. So that's one of the other things that we do over in multimedia. So I think I've probably talked long enough. I could show more, but I will cut myself off here. And I don't know should we ask for questions, see if anybody has any of that, or just kind of blow through it and ask questions at the end?
Yeah, I think it's up to, I'm not seeing any questions, so maybe we'll just.
Yeah, I guess if they pop in, we can grab them, but otherwise save your questions up and we'll do a little Q&A at the end as well.
Yeah, that sounds good. So what's up next on the old slide deck there?
let me check. Sorry, I didn't share that one there.
That's okay.
So we have animation is next up.
And you know him and you love him, Mr. Jason Guy. Please talk to us about the animation program.
All righty then. All right, so in the animation track, we've got two professors with a wealth of experience. One of them is in the chat, Mr. Clint Positive there, that both have industry experience. The foundation, the first class you take related to animation is a 200 level course, 241. Introduction to animation, and I teach that course primarily, and it is a based on the principles of animation that came out of Walt Disney Studios and adapted for 3D by John Lasseter, and we incorporate those principles into all our assignments. And when I talk about those, I'm talking about things like arcs and timing and staging, solid drawing, things of that nature. And then when you work your way through the program, you get more detailed. So we start doing character animation, digital lighting and rendering. We learn visual effects. So we can do, I changed a little bit this semester, but we've done fire and smoke. We've done water simulations where we flooded a hallway before. We learn about the history of visual effects all the way back from George Méliès to the production of digital film in the early 2000s. And then by the end of it, you're creating a capstone project where you take everything that you have learned and hopefully have created something that is really portfolio worthy. I know that Dan has shown numerous times the North and South by Marcelo, which was a student project that he created over the course of a couple semesters, which led to him getting jobs all over the place, right, Dan?
I think he actually got that senior project into Heartland, which is an Oscar qualifying film festival. I'm not sure if it was at the time, but still. Then I think he may have worked for Vision 3 right out of the gate, doing a lot of 3D, one of the pure 3D animation positions in the city. Now is in, I think, Helsinki. I think he married and moved abroad and is, you know, being a superstar across the pond. So.
Yeah, and we've had students that have interned at DreamWorks. We've had students that have interned at Cartoon Network. So with enough motivation and effort, it is possible to go from Indianapolis to these really cool and awesome places. Here, there's a couple of examples. We see some of our student work here on the left is a very stylized digital sculpting assignment that I've given to a student, and it's combining sculpting with obviously texturing and rendering. And then on the right, I believe this is one of Clint Positive, Mr. Clint Cook, one of our professors, and he has taught digital lighting and rendering using Substance Painter to develop these really realistic and awesome scenes that you see here on the right with the gun. Any questions? I know we're going to save questions to the end. I'll turn it over to, I think we're going to Chris next.
Oh boy.
We need a deep.
Oh, actually, no. Is Dan, are you doing this one? Are you doing?
I mean, I'm just I'll loosely discuss what this is.
Yeah,
we can all talk. Yeah, we can all talk about it. But so we've got two brand new concentrations. This is the first of the two, just approved by the powers that be within the past year. And this is themed attraction design. And we're obviously really pumped about this. This is kind of an untapped, at least from a higher ed perspective, kind of an untapped field of study. excuse me, a handful of places across the country offer courses in there. Even fewer offer any kind of degree path, and even fewer than that offer an undergraduate degree path in themed attraction design. But I mean, the overview of this is, I think when people think of themed attraction design, they think of theme parks, they think of Universal, Disney, and it is all of that. And just last March, I think Chris and I went down to Universal and got a really behind the scenes look at everything. And I mean, everything that goes into that park and how they create and craft those experiences from a storytelling perspective, from a hard technology perspective. And it's all of that stuff. It's the entertainment side of things. It's the technology side of things. It's the hospitality side of things. But it's also, creating themed experiences, I think, extends down to museums, restaurants, all kinds of things like that. So we are very, very fortunate to have a good group of advisory board members from all over the place talk about that and help us to kind of craft the curriculum. Our students just got off of in Josh's second themed attraction design class for CGT. They just got off a final kind of project review, and on that review was someone from Disney. There was an Imagineer there. There was a former executive at Universal, and so we're really excited about the industry collaboration and the fact that the industry itself is helping us to craft that curriculum moving forward. I'll let some other folks kind of chime in about it, but yeah, we are extremely fortunate to have the group of people that we have assembled to help us out with this entire kind of endeavor.
I mean, I'll just say, yeah, as Dan said, like it's pretty untapped. There's not many programs around the country that even teach this stuff. And so the fact that we teach this program and it's all online, it's pretty awesome. And, we've been able to get connections really all over the country from people locally here in Indianapolis, but then also nationally. And so last year, Josh and I went to IUPUI, which is the International Themed Attraction Conference. There's couple thousand people that go, and we got connected to a lot of people there. We're going to be going back probably November if they have it. We co-teach with Mark Dittmer, who is one of our advisors as well. He's formerly with SeaWorld and with Universal. And so he's got a wealth of knowledge. And so, yeah, we're really fortunate. And we're really excited about the future of what this program holds. Oh, I'm talking again.
Wait,
Nice.
I want to do the sexy DJ. Can I introduce you?
Oh God, okay.
I'm really starting to get into this. I may have actually discovered a new career path for myself in this small Twitch stream. All right, next up, talking about our newly established motion graphics concentration. Let's give it up for Mr. Christian Rogers.
All right, I'm back, everybody. I'm back. And so the motion graphics design concentration is actually, it's new, but we've been teaching classes in motion design for a while.
This is frozen.
Am I frozen?
Yeah, we lost you there for a second.
You're back. You're back.
I'm back. Oh, I'm back, everybody. I'm back. So it takes people through the process of creating 2D and 2D with a little bit of 3D. And so motion design is well defined as an amalgamation of special effects, 2D animation, a little bit of 3D animation, principles of design, all kind of coalescing together, and you stick a pin in the middle, and that's motion design. So in our motion design 1 class, motion and video 1, we teach I cover basic principles of motion, like basically motion design itself. So my dog's barking. Perfect timing. And so principles of design, squash and stretch, and it's basically off of the same principles that Jason, ease arcing, anticipation, exaggeration. So you learn about some of those basic principles of motion design, and then you learn how to apply those to a very simple project. So, you know, like this past spring, I've had students do logo builds, and so they're doing really basic logo builds where they're, you know, utilizing an existing logo or they're creating one of their own, and they're doing some animation around that. And then the next project they're getting into is a little bit of video production. So I had students share this. I'll share this video quick.
More than 10,000 people in New York have died from coronavirus. There have been nearly 200,000 cases in this state.
On coronavirus, NBC News has just confirmed 2 new cases in Washington state, adding
So yeah, they're doing a basic commercial, and so that's the first motion and video into advanced classes. So you go through an advanced video production class, you go through an advanced motion design class where you learn about more about like special effects, inclusion of some 3D, specifically with like Cinema 4D, which is kind of the main platform in 3D that's used in the motion design industry. And then motion and video 2, which is like the last class that you take your senior year, is an amalgamation of video and motion design all over again, but pulling them back together. So you learn about rotoscoping and motion tracking, and how do you actually composite video over top of video to create special things. So it's a fun concentration. Yeah, it's probably like I've spent more time in the industry myself in motion and video than in any other area. And so it's my personal passion. And I probably, I've spent the most time teaching it as well. So that's motion and video.
Okay. So what do we have next up on our exciting presentation here? We are gonna, I think maybe, let's talk about these folks. So we've been very fortunate to have a really good group of an advisory board, always trying to build it. So a lot of these people are new, which is fantastic. A lot of the themed attraction folks are new to the board, and again, helping us to kind of craft that curriculum. But I mean, you can kind of see their places of employment and things like that. But at the end of the day, these are not only, you know, titans in their own fields and their own disciplines, but just really, honestly, just nice folks, right? They like the educational process. They like to be able to contribute and give back. And so it's a good group of people. And some of those are some real powerhouses in the areas that they work in, which is always great and always flattering that they would like to reach out to a place in Indianapolis and actually help. You know, faculty, I think the one thing that we try to do here in CGT that may be different, shouldn't be different. We at least try to do the things that we teach. So we've done all kinds of things from collectively from, you know, 6, 7 AAA video game titles to film festivals to, you know, published illustration work to all kinds of things. And then coupled with that, I think in this field especially, we try to find people who are good from an industry perspective, but also people who could just teach, who actually like to teach, and who are good at it. So that's kind of the model that we try to strive for when we find faculty to teach the students. So some examples of student work and all kinds of fun, or this is faculty work, sorry. Faculty work and some examples of some of the stuff that we've done, including all Jason's stuff from railroads. And is that all railroads? Is that Civ 5, some of that?
Yeah, that's Civ 5.
Awesome. What else do we have going on here? So some of our advisory board members, some of the stuff that they've worked on, And some of the other kind of contributors to the actual program have had long storied careers, and just some of those posters that you see there for like Empire and the original Tron, which is way better, and X-Men. That's a good friend and ally to the program, which is John Van Vliet. And yeah, we had a really cool opportunity with him. We run this class probably about every 3 years. We're actually probably due to offer it again. I would say probably in the spring of next year. But John Van Vliet, for people who don't know him, he's kind of been a staple in the field of visual effects for quite a long time. He was got a pretty esteemed, he was passed. He was actually served in the military in the 70s. And then when he was discharged, he went to Cal Arts, and he just happened to be at Cal Arts at the same time as everyone else that has produced billions and billions of dollars of content. So he was in school with Brad Bird and Lasseter and that whole crew. Tim Burton, if you ever talk to John Van Vliet, or ever, for students who are listening and you ever take his class, he's got some great stories about Tim Burton. He left Cal Arts after his freshman year and was like the 35th employee at ILM, worked on Empire, one of the 5 animators on Tron, and basically had his own shop. He was a visual effects supervisor on a ton of other films, including the first X-Men. But he's just, this guy, I can't sing his praises enough. He is just a wealth of knowledge. And for some reason, he likes us. And he loves to share that passion with our current students. So I'll turn it over to someone else. I'm yapping too much.
I guess I can go. So if you decide to become a CGT major, you take foundational courses. All students take the same courses. And so really it provides basic foundations in the principles of design and animation that will prepare you for each of the concentrations. And so you can then choose to decide which concentration you want to go into. Currently, you take a portfolio review. And so you actually have to go through a process where you're creating a portfolio, and then you are presenting that portfolio, and you have to pass it in order to get into the 300, 400 level classes. You also need to do a 200-hour internship experience. That's crucial. We want you to get industry experience and know what it's actually like to be in the industry. And so that's another requirement. And then you go into your concentration. So you can pick one of the 4. So. Jason, we talk about facilities. Oh, Dan, you're muted.
We have about 15 minutes, so we'll probably just kind of speed through the rest of this because I want to open it up to questions. But we've there's some shots from some of the facilities that we use on campus, and we just spent, I think, about $150,000 on a kind of a revamp of our primary lab. And we've got $30,000 of furniture that's kind of sitting in a warehouse right now, getting ready to be delivered. But 4K projection, dual 4K projection screen of VR set up in there. So we're really excited about not only the 2 new concentrations and the advisory board and all that stuff, but actually how that trickles down to the students in our primary lab in 321, which I think is really going to be a showpiece by the time it's all finished, provided that we can get back onto campus at some point soon. Quickly, Ivy Tech and IUPUI have a pretty seamless integration process there. So I know that's kind of popped up on the radar of a few people who might be thinking, well, if classes are going to go online, maybe I'm going to take some classes at Ivy Tech in the fall and then kind of matriculate over to CGT, which is completely understandable. And I think they do a great job there. So we've got a pretty good relationship with Ivy Tech. And so classes that you take at Ivy Tech or any of the community colleges locally absolutely dovetail really nicely into the not only CGT, but the entire IUPUI campus. We've talked about old John, study abroad, very cool study abroad experience. And Clint Positive can talk quite a bit about that. Which is we do at least 2 study abroads, sometimes three different locations. We've had a study abroad in Poland for a very long time. We teach both at Poznan and then the Rzeszów, which is in the south of Poland. That provides our students, a lot of hands-on teaching opportunities and just a lot of awesome cultural experiences. And the Polish people and all the places I've been in my day are some of the best people. So it's a really cool opportunity. And that usually, we get students from other campuses who'd like to go on to that study abroad because it's been so popular. So what else, folks? A big thank you. Let's open it up to questions. Does anybody have questions? I'm going to look to my other screen here. What happened to all the unused Cintiqs at the lab when we added the VR equipment? Asking for a friend. It's amazing that they. Oh, I'm sorry. My elbow was just touching my new Cintiq. I'm not sure what happened to them. Honestly, no. We've got them in a very special place. They're getting used. They're getting used right now. I'll say that. Do we ask more deserted island questions, preferably those that don't involve cannibalism?
I'm getting asked what my dog's name is. And then a more legitimate question, has the role of motion graphics and virtual reality cross paths? So my dog's name is Pryor, after Terrell Pryor of Ohio State, because I'm a Buckeye. And then, yes, motion graphics and VR have started to cross paths. I would say lightly. We're probably seeing more in the 3D realm of animation, which Dan and Jason can definitely talk to more than I can. But I can tell you it is happening. So
that's a loaded question too, because Christina Hall is one of the superstars that have come off the IUPUI campus, and she's currently working right next to James Cameron on this Avatar and has been for several. You can't trick us, Christina. Yeah, I don't know. I think from a VR perspective, we're working on a VR film right now, and it's a lot of work to figure it out. But boy, I feel like we're just touching. I mean, as Christina knows, I mean, for people outside of Christina, I think we're just now starting to touch the surface of what that will be in 10 to 15 years. But taking an old painter like me and trying to throw them into a VR world has definitely been interesting. Yeah. And it's been challenging for sure. So
I've seen, obviously, my work on a screen. I've seen my work at a TV commercial, but the coolest thing ever was modeling something out and then walking through it in VR. There's just nothing quite like it.
yeah.
I wanted to add, since we're talking about the Big Ten with Ohio State there, that for anybody who is considering our degree program, one thing that makes us unique is and special is that we do offer Purdue degrees in the School of Technology. So we're in the engineering and technology school. And when you have your degree at the end of the day, it'll have Purdue on it. So that has a lot of credibility across the United States, across the world. So boiler up. That's for you, Chris.
I'm not going to comment on that.
Are there any projects or future, am I muted? No, are there any projects or future endeavors connecting VR, augmented reality, and the themed attraction courses? I think, yeah, I mean, ultimately, I think there will be. It's funny because when Chris and I were at Universal a year ago, and we were kind of getting, again, one of the coolest tours of that place that probably a few people have seen. And we asked Mark Dittmer that, how much VR do you use? And he's like, nada. At that point, nothing, right? So it's a lot of just rudimentary like SketchUp work and stuff like that. But that field is so deep and it's got so many different silos of content. But I can't imagine that it wouldn't be. I mean,
I'll tell you that whole thing is going to take a big step backwards, because one of the issues they had when you think of all the thousands of people going on an attraction at Disney is that if you're putting something on your face, you got to clean it. So now you have to clean it 10 times more than 3 months ago, or people may not even want to put anything on their face at all. So I'm thinking that it's going to kind of delay things a little bit. But Chris and I can also tell you, though, we were at the IUPUI conference and we did multiple things that were VR related. So that little almost like boxes, virtual rooms that you would get in with 4 other people, and you would, you do your Fortnite kind of gaming and be shooting at people and stuff, but you'd be tethered to the thing. And there's quite a bit of that stuff on there. So there are ways that people are using it for sure, but there's definitely issues that you have to consider from the theme park people's perspective.
Well, and the other thing too is that VR, probably VR more than AR, is going to be a part of the design pipeline. So the actual designing of attractions. And so we're starting to see that now, where people are using SketchUp and they're using specific plugins to do that sort of work. And so that's definitely going to be a part of what we do. So.
Yeah, because when designers are trying to pitch their work to the investors, the investors are looking to plop down tens of millions of dollars to get an attraction up and going. If the people designing it, the concept of it, can put the headsets on them and take them through the experience of the ride without building a single thing, that kind of prototyping of that concept, that experience, can really help sell your idea. And also, as you're building it, before you build anything, you prototype, you go through the thing and you're like, oh, wait a minute, that doesn't make sense there, because you can see, the backside of whatever in this position. So you can make all those adjustments before you're laying tracks and building walls and all the stuff that goes into it.
Another question. Are there any new classes in the works?
Yes.
Yes.
That's all we can say.
Right. You all have not signed your NDAs, so you are not privy. Now, there's definitely, obviously, for both motion design and themed attraction design, it's like we're just cutting our teeth on this. So undoubtedly, those are going to, I think, flourish very quickly with new classes. But you know what? There's also, I think there's things that we can do to the other programs too, to kind of tighten them up. But yeah, always new classes. For people who are not aware of the process of putting together a new class, it is as slow as you can possibly imagine, because and that's, I think we can all say that that's maybe one of the frustrating parts is we all get excited about this stuff, or we're doing something on like our own projects or whatever, and it's like, that's definitely a hole. We need a class for that, for our students. They need to experience this. And it's usually about a 2-year process from concept of class to actual course offering of class. But that's for like an official course. So what we typically try to do, if we are like running into some things like the VR film or whatever, it's like over the past couple summers, we've offered some components of that experience for students where they're actually modeling for the film, or they're doing concept art or whatever. And we try to do that under like a variable topics class. But as far as like officially numbered classes, yeah, there's some coming for sure.
I think we should definitely answer the question, like what's the fall going to look like for us as a department from what we know.
I don't think anybody knows anything.
I know that I need a haircut.
Yes, this is true.
I know, I do too.
We might be teaching as like virtual avatars of some sort by the fall.
Yeah, I mean, I think regardless of what ends up
Life.
happening, I think we'll be fine. I think that's maybe I know people are probably getting tired of being reassured all the time, and but I've been doing the teaching thing for quite a bit longer than I thought that I initially would. I feel like this was actually one of my better semesters teaching, as crazy as that sounds, especially after this all broke, because it just allowed me to I'm kind of a hermit anyway, and so I don't really like to leave my house as it is. So I'm like right in my element, and it's allowed me to like, save driving time and kind of erroneous meeting times, and allowed me to focus a lot more on just like, good student teaching interaction. So yeah, if we go online in the fall, I'd be completely fine with that.
Yeah, and I know, and one of the questions in the thread there is that is there a possibility for online in-class hybrid classes? And I've actually taught classes that way before, so where we've met once a week in person, and then had another component of the second class online. So that is one of the possibilities that our administration is saying could probably the most likely scenario is that, because everybody wants to be able to do some face-to-face, especially for the classes where that's more important. But doing that, half the class meets on one day, half the class meets on another day, the other half streams it, or you meet one day a week instead of twice a week. We've done that kind of thing before, so it's not going to be too crazy. And there's benefits to that too. Like there's a thing called the flipped classroom where you give the students the work to do and do some of the research on their own and get that teacher guidance, but then come to class to talk about it, to discuss it, to work through it. And Chris knows a lot more about that kind of thing than I do, but that's kind of the basic idea, if I got that right.
The last thing I heard from the president of IU is that he did not foresee us being in person in the fall, but I think it's still very much up in the air.
Other questions? Being online saves me hundreds of hours each year traveling. A guy who commutes, amen, is what I say to you, my friend. Amen, brother.
Yeah, and
I've literally have bought up to 4 hours a day because of that. So I'm with you.
Yeah, and the campus parking problem has been solved for the time being.
What happened? What was the result? The solve?
Well, I'm just saying nobody's there, so there's no problem.
I thought you meant the parking pass situation and all that good stuff. So, yeah. All right, other questions? I'm going to make up my own questions here pretty soon.
Please don't. Please have someone ask questions. Please, someone ask questions. I'm going to be asked to eat a chocolate puppy here in the next few minutes.
Yeah. So $500 down the drain for parking, but you don't have to pay for gas. Yeah, I know. I feel you with that one as well.
My answer to that question is I totally ate the baby. I ate the baby.
Jason, I'm shocked by that, actually. I feel like in this group, especially, you'd be the last one to do that. But
does anyone know the number for DCS?
It's chocolate. It's friggin' chocolate.
But again, if the child has to go to the restroom and the child is chocolate, you can eat the chocolate waste. You don't have to eat the child. Come on now, you sicko. Is the baby dark or milk chocolate? In my world, the baby's dark chocolate. I'm more of a dark chocolate guy myself, but any other questions?
I think we're about at the end of the hour here.
We hit it.
Why don't you take us out with a nice DJ outro?
I should have. I'll tell you what. I think I've mentioned this before, but I have a real aversion to watching or listening to my voice. I can only imagine what years of students think, but
I don't know. It's pretty soothing. I might go to bed after this.
A byproduct of teaching online has been recording all your demos or whatever and then posting them. And then you always want to check the demos to make sure that they, the sound was right and everything. And so it's like every day after every class, it's like I get a small glimpse of my voice. And yeah, it's so I will never revisit this recording. But I hope the rest of you do as well. Well, anyway, there's our information. You can go to the website, cgt.iupui.edu. And then we have, thanks to the great work of our social media champion, Miranda Schuler, all our social information at the bottom. And I think I can speak on behalf of these three gentlemen that you can always reach out to us any way that you would like, and if you have additional questions or want to talk a little bit more after the fact. That was kind of a sweet ending, wasn't it?
There was nothing DJ about that.
It was very good. It was like I brought it to a very caring place.
It was
Right?
very nice.
It was good. It was good.
It's like,
We should
yeah,
also say we should also mention this kicks off our 24-hour live stream. So be sure to check stuff. I'm gonna be on at 10 o'clock tonight, doing some cosplay, Game of Thrones compositing. So we'll have a little fun at
In
10 o'clock
costume,
with
or
some.
you're gonna
No,
actually.
I'm not doing any shoots or costume stuff, but I have the photos already.
please,
I know what I'm
please
doing.
do.
Yeah, I'll be on at 6. I'll be on at 6 o'clock, and I have literally 0 plans, but I'll probably be painting something. So feel free to come on. At
Yeah.
6.
Mark Dittmer and I are on at 11 tomorrow. We'll talk up 3 themed attractions. So
And Jason will be on tomorrow as well, correct?
he'll be sleeping the whole
that-
time.
That
We're just
is
going to watch
correct.
him sleep.
I'm in the afternoon, so I got time. I got time to sleep.
All right. Well, yeah, thanks everybody for showing up. And we had a blast, and we will probably be doing many more of these down the road. So on that note, we'll just call this one wrapped. All right.